welcome to another episode of On the Capo Stand podcast. I am your host, David, alongside yours truly, as in every week, the pride of Cincinnati, our good friend John. How you doing, John?
Well, I've been better, David, but it's another week.
Well, another week of football. Glutton for punishment, we are here. And the talisman of North Africa, our good friend Ahmed. How you doing, my brother?
I'm here. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm here.
You are here. Same here. I'm only here so I won't get fined. All right, friends. We would like to remind everybody that we are on audio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Also, we're live on Twitch at On the Capo Stand. We're on X at On the Capo Stand. We're on YouTube at David's Channel 76. We're on Instagram at On the Capo Stand. We're on live on Facebook at On the Capo Stand Podcast. We're on TikTok at On the Capo Stand. We're on Threads at On the Capo Stand. And we are on Blue Sky. Thank you very much. Live. And also, thank you very much for everybody that supported us last week. 57 people live to see Orlando, to listen to an Orlando City legend like Luke Bowden, who we once again want to thank him for being with us and going over a little bit about his post Orlando City career and what has happened with him after that. Well, friends, it's not an easy way to talk about this. It's a difficult moment for our club. We're in the midst of the worst start in 14 seasons, including USL and MLS. The worst, let me say that again for those that couldn't hear me in the back. The worst start for Orlando City in 14 seasons. And football is up and downs, peaks and valleys, like they say, but it doesn't make it any easier. We're definitely gonna talk about our exit from the CONCACAF and our game at Atlanta United. But first, let's talk a little bit about some good news because not all is lost in Orlando City land. And I'm trying to find, there we go, in the OCB minute for those that are listening. Orlando City B defeated 3-2. Atlanta United 2. Incredible effort from the boys. And I'm sorry, I forgot to write down the scores. My apologies. Because when I was doing the notes, obviously I had to do the notes for Orlando City, the first team, and I was furious. So, with that said, the boys start the season with the right foot. They're gonna be this Saturday, 22nd at 8 p.m. at Huntsville City, and I believe the 22nd is Saturday, correct? No, that's Friday. My apologies. Friday. So they're going to be at Huntsville City in Alabama. And then after that, they're going to be returning home for their home opener against Inter Miami too. So go support the boys. Their games are available on Apple Plus or on YouTube. So go check them out. Obviously, you're going to have to look to see which platform is going to carry them over. So thank you very much, OCB, for giving us a little bit of joy in a bad week otherwise. Last, before I surrender the microphones to the two gentlemen that join me tonight, as a podcast, our official stance with the Leagues Cup is as follows. For those that don't follow us on social media, I will repeat myself again. We're not going to cover Leagues Cup. We are not going to attend Leagues Cup. We're not going to watch the games. I'm going to be honest with you. We need to stand for something, and if we're going to do that, right or wrong, even if it doesn't mean anything, we're going to stand by the football culture of our nation and by the national trophy that football clubs had fought over for over a century. One which we chased for 9 years, and we lifted that glorious night 2 seasons ago. So that's it. If the fact here is we're not going to participate in Open Cup, We're gonna send a token delegation, and the reason for that is because we don't want to interfere with the league making money. Well, guess what? You're not gonna get my money. You're not gonna get my eyes. My butt is gonna stay home. That's what we're gonna do. So I'm pretty sure that other people will surrender to the powers of Don Garber and his cronies, who look at you in the face and say, "Hey, that what's happening in Miami is good for a league." And spitting on my cupcake and calling it frosting is the same way. I don't know. So with that said, guys, that's what we do. My friends, let's head out to what happened this past Tuesday down in the state of Nuevo León, Mexico. Monterrey is the city. Tigres is the rival. Orlando City crashes out of the CONCACAF champions. Let's start with you, John. What can we say about the forgettable night?
You would have hoped that a team that basically all the same players that got kicked out of the competition, the same competition last year, because of an archaic technicality, would have shown some sort of life when we went to attempt to do the same thing to that same team a year later. And what they came out and looked like was what they came out and looked like the entire since the season began. And you know, it was sluggish, it was slow, it was just bad soccer, plain and simple, that we played. No, we did. You know, they did grow into the game a little bit. They did have their chances, but by the time that happened, it was 2-0. You know, Ahmed and I and David sat here last week and said we have to come out and start strong. We have to come out and start strong, and they didn't do that. And next thing you know, we're down 2-0. They got a gift of a penalty kick to go up 2-0, and then we, in my opinion, got an even bigger gift. We're lucky that Janssen didn't get a yellow card for simulation. We got a gift of a penalty kick, and Faku put it home to put it to 2-1, and just never, you know, same thing as that it's been for a month now. Just stagnant offense, stagnant attacking third, nobody moving off the ball. When they do move, they're not making movements that are in the game of soccer. You know, cutting behind people, not overlapping, just running straight down the field. Everybody's running away from the ball. Nobody's coming to the ball to offer support, offer relief. And, you know, it was very disappointing. I was beside myself Tuesday night, because of the lack of effort that the majority of the club showed. And it was just, you know, extremely disappointing. I'll leave it at that, because that's all I can say about it without getting too frustrated.
Well, man.
You know, I'm gonna try to keep it clean as long as I can today. The CONCACAF was our goal at first, right? That's why we had the excuses that we had. It was like that was our focus. This is what we were gonna do. So this was our chance to come out strong, come out to play to win, to continue to move forward. And not only did we lose on paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we lost on grass. Because like you always say, football's not played on paper, it's played on grass. We lost on paper and we lost on grass. So then what's left? That's all. That I'm gonna save the rest of my comments for later. Yeah, that's it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, I'm gonna add to what this distinguished gentleman have said. I'm gonna say something that is gonna be very popular among MLS fans. We have seen year after year how we go into these international competitions only to be shown the door by Liga MX. I think to a lot of Americans, the uncultured ones. I have traveled. My passport, I actually had to at one point had to add more sheets to it because I used to work international. I have traveled the Americas, Africa, Asia, Europe, and when I served the in our republic in the United States Navy, I travel as well. And if you still think that Mexico is just a bunch of people in burros and riding donkeys and with the big sombreros, Mexico is a nation just like the United States. It's a first world country with a first class league and great talent that they're stealing away from MLS. And they're a powerhouse in CONCACAF because for many, many, many years, Canada, the United States, they care for the sport. They have a league to speak of. And Central America, unfortunately, are smaller nations that, for the most part, have the same amount of population that some Mexican states have. And the islands tend to do very well in international competitions because they're digging to their diasporas in North America, in Europe to come and save the day. But when it comes to national leagues, they're very poor. In fact, Jamaica, the best league right now, in my opinion, is Dominican Republic. And the Haitian league, unfortunately, maybe years before we see that league operating again. Puerto Rico has a league that is MPSL level, and forget about the U.S. Virgin Islands. There's it's high school football. That's all you have there. So Mexico's gonna be is the giant, and I just don't see why Don Garber keeps selling the idea that on in a league where you have franchises rather than real clubs, where you handicap clubs to have a roster rules that don't allow us to go and get the best players because we have the money. We're in a league where the league makes decisions for ourselves. Hence, what's happening in Miami, which is obscene. I'm sorry, it's obscene. You don't have a Barcelona reunion under the rules as they are set. Those guys are not going to be playing for that little. There's some hanky panky going on a club that the league already had to punish for 3 years for violating roster rules. But that's what happens. We go to these tournaments with one hand tied behind our back, and we get clobbered. So to me, going to Leagues Cup with the idea of winning an ugly trophy that looks like my grandma's coffee percolator. Um, I'm sorry. Into the reward is to go and get clobbered again in a Mexican stadium. To me, there's no reward in that. In fact, I was so upset when we drew Calvary. Nothing against them, because I wanted to see our team in Central America and the cauldron to see because I knew that Calvary was not going to be a challenge, and getting Tigres again, Tigres, they talk all their crap. We were never in it, unfortunately. We never got a goal in the run of play. A nightmare, a forgettable night. Maybe years before we return to the competition, based on what we're gonna be talking about now, that may be true. And nothing, as always, proud of our efforts. Proud that we made it there. It's second year in a row, and there's clubs in MLS that can't say that. We can. So, guys, do you have anything else to add to CONCACAF champions?
Yeah, just to add to your frustration, I mean, every other sport in the United States can bring in, and they all have salary caps, so it can be done with a salary cap, can bring in whatever player from wherever in the world they want. Price is not really an option. But here in this sport, in our sport, soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, the most popular sport in the world, the top league in the United States can't even bring in players in their prime, top mid-level players in their prime as far as top leagues go. And people talk on social media, oh, MLS needs to be a top 10 league, a top 7 league. It's never going to reach that until they take the stupid salary cap off. They take the TAM off. They take the GAM off. They get rid of this whole designated player situation, young designated player situation they have. And they let the team spend the money that they choose to spend. And I mean, there's a reason that Mexico, the Mexican teams, have players like Gignac. We've played him 2 years in a row now. Top quality player, shows it on the pitch. Luckily, we've been able to, for the most part, clamp him down. But if we just had that one player, we would be so far. He would be a designated player, obviously, right now. But we would be so far over the salary cap that it wouldn't even that he'd be the only player we could have. The
Correct.
one player is worth more than our entire team is, as far as salary goes, annual salary. From the research I've done, I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So until every club in the MLS has the chance to do that, this league's going nowhere. We're going to keep getting stomped in Champions Cup, unless like Seattle did a couple years ago.
At a cost, my friend,
yeah.
at a cost, because they
course.
surrender making playoffs and all that.
Yeah. So and then they got embarrassed in the Club World Cup. Embarrassed. And there's this. It's the same reason. This is basically the only top flight league in the world that has such low salaries in comparison. We're one of the, if not the richest. Socioeconomics is not my specialty. So we're one of the richest countries in the world. We've got some of the best sporting in the world as far as overall. And there's players, I guarantee you, if we let's take Mbappe, for instance. If we put the same price in front of Mbappe that Real Madrid did, and the level was, everything was equivalent, he would come to the U.S. Why do people come to the U.S. when they're at the end of their career? Because they want to. People want to come here. It's cheaper to live here than almost anywhere else in the world. The quality of life is better here than almost anywhere else in the world. Even if you're in, Minnesota and it's dumping 3 inches of snow an hour on you, the quality of life is still better than it is in most of the places. So, what Don Garber's doing is an atrocity. What these owners are letting him get away with is an atrocity. And, it's going to take us supporters, us fans, really doing something in a legal way that's going to cause this to change. Now, the league did take, and I said something like it's a, baby shuffle or something like that in the right direction. They did this summer. Apparently, they're separating the young designated player with the regular designated player, so you can have 3 of each. Apparently, that's the rumor anyway. So that's a small step in the right direction. That means you get to have potentially 3 players that, if they played in one of the top 5 leagues, would be a everyday player as your star. And then a couple up and coming young guys like a Facu Torres, a Cesar Araujo, and others, because I can't think of who was our other young DP that we bought down this year.
It was Gonzalez, who's no longer. It's
sure. Okay. Or Gonzalez, who came in, had a lot of potential. So, young guys like that are under 22 years of old, you can now have 3 of each. But it's not going to change until they completely get away with all that other MLS salary stuff. And it's a shame, because the next 2 years is 2 of the most important years, even without Messi being here, and for the sport in this country. And, they're completely fumbling it. The league is, with how they're handling everything.
For sure. Ahmed?
I got nothing else to add, man. I mean, I'm just gonna save all my comments for the next part.
The problem is Ahmed already wore himself out before the show. But I gotta tell you guys, this ends 4-2 on aggregate. And uh, for those that want to continue checking out CONCACAF Champions, which I do, even though our team is out of it,
Yeah.
it's April 2nd. We're going to see Tigres versus Columbus at 7 p.m. And I guess we're all Columbus at this point, right? Then we are going to see New England against Club America at 9 p.m., 7 p.m. for Tigres, 9 p.m. for America. And to be honest with you, Mexican teams are the favorites on that matchup. And then April 3rd, you're going to have Miami against Monterrey and Herediano against Pachuca. Once again, Mexican teams favorites there. It's going to be interesting. I got to tell you, and we finished with this. A friend of mine who's Mexican was telling me, look, fact of the matter is that the Mexican teams that are making CONCACAF champions are not just some pushovers. America, Tigres, Monterrey, Pachuca, Guadalajara. These are clubs that have been powerhouses in North America for decades. Who are we sending? We're sending Orlando City, who had a good season last year, Columbus and New England. I mean, New England, the team that is dead last in the league. Fact of the matter is, as long as we continue having the ridiculous rules that we have in MLS, we're just gonna be a warm up for Mexican teams before they go to Club World Cup. All right, my friends. So we have some comments. If you guys don't mind knocking those out, while I look for the next topic.
Got it. I got it. First one is a good friend of mine, Abe Mendez. He said, Ahmed, what's in that white cup tequila? This is the white cup he's referring to. Oh, you can't see it right now.
Yeah.
But no, it's not tequila, Abe. It's water.
Okay.
The tequila was earlier.
All right, my
And
brother.
then we have Corey Wolfgang. He said, who's Poppy out here?
Corey,
And
my good man.
Corey. Yeah, Corey. Hello,
All right.
sir.
Let's answer right now. Let's not keep Corey waiting. Ahmed, what's your opinion?
I am not Poppy out yet.
Okay, John.
Not yet, but the next 2 weeks will be very deciding for me.
All right, great answers. Corey, I'm gonna tell you this. Last year, I was Poppy out. I was assaulted. I was attacked. My integrity, the show, all that. People that know me, my Twitter account was taken down. All that, because my opinion, evidently, is so transcendental that whatever I say, the Will family is gonna do. I went to the Poppy, to the Oscar perspective. Oscar said sweet nothings. He hugged me. We took a picture. I am Poppy into the 25th power because the opportunity to change managers was in November 2023. We did not do it. He proved to us that he can turn things around. So I'm a firm believer that regardless of our how we finish the season, we're gonna talk about that. If you're the type of guy that likes numbers, likes logic over feelings, we got a show for you today. So with that said, I think if there's gonna be a change in managers, it has to happen in December. It has to happen in the postseason. Uh, there's no manager that realistically we can get out there right now that will be willing to step in and take the disaster that we have in our hands right now. This team, after 5 years, is Oscar Pareja's team. So I don't see how a different face can turn this thing around. And
Absolutely.
I will say this about managers. When my team Stevenage 2 years ago was on the verge of relegation to the National League,
Everybody take a shot.
everybody take a shot. And Steve Evans, the savior from Scotland, came in and took that team that had 7 games left, that just got done losing to the one team they had to beat in order to stay in the league, 1-0 at home. And he went and got the results that we needed. And not only that, on the second season, he got us promoted to League One. And right now, we were supposed to be in a playoff contention. The results have not been there of late, and we're out of them right now to the championship. I know what it is like to be staring at the precipice. You know, I'm ready to be kicked in the chest and be told that this is Sparta. I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to go into relegation because a lot of people are like, well, I follow a team that can get relegated. Perhaps we follow a Manchester City, a Manchester United, a team that will never, a Liverpool, a team that will never sniff the relegation zone. But I don't. And going to the National League, if you are one of those folks that likes to watch Netflix shows, you see what happened with Wrexham. 14 years trying to get out of that horrendous league, and even all the Hollywood money couldn't get him out. So I know what it is to have a manager come in, save the day. Same with Maccabi Haifa. Our manager got a beautiful offer with Restart Sarajevo, and he left. And the man had gifted us 3 championships, left his assistant, and the guy was doing horrible. And in the league, they're doing great. But the goal was to do very well in Europa League and in the Champions, and we got kick in the throat. So when I speak about that managers can change clubs into the better, I speak from experience. Not because I hate Oscar Pareja. I have said that here many times. I think Oscar Pareja is a gentleman, a great person. I been hugged by that man. I have spoken to that man like I'm talking to you. Okay? Oscar Pareja is Oscar Pareja wants his team to win. Oscar Pareja wants to lift trophies. Is he the right person? We have a lot of football to be played to find that out. So I gave you a long-winded answer. But like I said, I feel that, while my Puerto Rican hood has gone the best out of me in the past, because I'm a very emotional person. I love my club. I'm not going to let people who now hide in the bushes when the things get rough, and I'm not going to let them win. We got to play football. And right now, Saturday, we got to be there. So, my friends, we went up I-75 to Mercedes-Benz Stadium to play Atlanta. Stats that you should know before we go deep into this. Atlanta had not finished above Orlando City in points since 2019. The last time we lost at Atlanta was in 2021. The last time Atlanta defeated Orlando City was 2022. So Orlando City has been going toe to toe with Atlanta for years now. Last time Atlanta was any good was 2018. Don't let them fool you. They came in with some great players, got the league with the pants around their ankles, got a trophy. They haven't been any good since. And in my opinion, they were not very good last night. But leave it to Orlando City to polish a big pile of cow cakes and make them look beautiful, because that's what happened last night. Errors in the defense that Ahmed is the guy who with a son in developmental football. He will tell you. So I have been talking. Let's just start with you, Ahmed, and then John, about your impressions about Atlanta.
All right. So I don't know what we were doing at that game. I really don't. Last week I mentioned it and I said it about the last game we played. There's like 3 things. And guess what? I put it together. This is it right here. All I want are 3 things: scoring goals, playing aggressively, and attacking. You do those 3 things and eventually you'll win. We did those at our last game and it was beautiful. It was great. I don't know what happened at the game against Atlanta, because it fell apart horrendously, right? I don't care if we win or lose. I want the wins, but it's how we're playing. We're making mistakes, to your point, David, and I sent the 2 of you a message. I felt like I was watching my son's game, who played earlier in the day. right? And it's nothing against the guys. Is I don't know what's going on with the team. I really don't know what's going on with the team. It was just I saw stuff and I'm like, what the hell are we doing? And I'm trying to keep it clean because I looked at the I'm trying to keep it as clean as I can. But like, where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? And you're making silly, stupid, dumb mistakes. You can't win the game on paper, right? That's what we say. It's not played on paper, it's played on grass. You have to win. You have to keep the ball. You have to attack the ball. You have to score the goals. You have to do all of that. I don't care if we lose, if we're doing everything we need to, but we're not even doing that. That's my issue, right? So I don't know if it's locker room issues, if it's on field issues, and I don't care what it is, but we need to figure it out and we need to address it like yesterday. Because you know what? Yes, it's still the beginning of the season. It's still early in the season, but guess what? That early in the season is like getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and that excuse is going to wear out really soon, right? I almost feel like I have something else to share, and because I was trying to think of something to get the message across. Somebody in that locker room or in the organization was like this. It's like somebody needs to go. Like I feel like that's what needs to happen. You know, like there's I. It's not a sense of urgency. It's a combination of everything. It's just like there's something missing. This is not a different team. I mean, we have what, four, maybe five new players, if that, but it's the same team from last year. So what the hell's going on? I don't want to hear about the guys need time to gel. I don't want to hear about they don't know each other.
That's what the preseason was for, my brother.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. I mean, we've had 10 games, and I think we scored 8 goals in the last 10 games, and the majority of those games were the Champions Cup. So what? I mean, come on. Like, I don't know. I'm just really frustrated, and it's just like watching it is painful. It's painful not because I love the team. I'll support the team, but we have to do what we have. They have to do it, man. Come on. I mean, shit. Sorry.
So it's all good, brother. All right, we're gonna unleash the dragon because John understood the assignment.
Yes, he did.
John understood the assignment. So get comfy, get your favorite drink, and let's go on this journey.
I got my tequila ready, John. Don't worry.
There you go. So, Ahmed told you the what of what we want and what's, kind of the what we want, and it's like, so what's the team actually doing wrong? Again, this is opinionated. This comes from my, limited training as a, in soccer tactics, as well as just my observations and in tactics and self-research. And the mistakes this club, the boys are making, I don't know why. They're professional athletes, professional soccer players, have been playing this game for a very, very long time. And, there's just two main things that I see. And I have two examples. I'll go through them quick. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to go quicker than I did in the pre-show. So, I'm just going to present it here for the people listening. I'll explain a little bit of what's going on. So, the first one is when our players are making a run, and in this case, I'm talking about Dagger Dan right here, kind of in the top middle of the screen right here. He's running behind the defense. And typically in this position, when the ball is out on the wing and there's two guys like that, you want to run ball side of the defender, flash in front of his face. So he has to make a decision. When you don't do that and you run behind him like Dagger Dan does, that defender was able to guard two guys at once. And as I scroll through here, you see Dagger running and you see the end of his run. That defender maybe moved a step and a half and caused Ojeda to have to turn around and play the ball back. So that's one. That's why our attack is partly so stagnant, as well as movement around the 18, but we do not have the time to go through that. The other reason, and this is the most concerning for me, is for those watching live or those that will be watching the tape. That big square, it's approximately, if you had to estimate, it's probably about 10 yards by 30 yards. A pretty big size square, if I were to say, at least 10 by 20. Where we, in the middle of the field, we do not have a single player. And as I scroll through those pictures, you see nobody comes to that spot. Lodero, our number 10, who's supposed to occupy that area right there where that square was, is out wide, very close to the touchline. Angulo goes to cut in. Nobody's in the middle to make a quick reverse, because from that position, you can't really switch the field very effectively when it's that deep, when it's 20 yards from the goal line. So they have to play it back. It goes to Lodero, back to Santos. Santos plays it out to Lodero, who has to play it back to Angulo in almost the same exact square or same exact spot he was. And there isn't a single person still in that square. Now, I understand on Sunday the boys were set up more in a 4-4-2. So it's not necessarily on Lodero. It's on the entire squad to have that rotation, have that fill the space. You know, that guy moves here, somebody else fills his spot on the offensive end. But you have to be smart. Santos here could have snuck into that position, but that's not his spot. He leaves the left wing wide open then, and obviously you don't want that. That causes issues, as we saw yesterday. There were several almost goals that Atlanta put in. And that square, you know, being so vacant, because there were multiple times yesterday where Atlanta would just clear the ball and have 30, 40, 50 yards to run with nobody to step to the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have the opposing team coming full force without anybody challenging the ball until they get on our defensive side of me. I mean, I'm saying yesterday, the player legitimately caught it 30 yards from goal and went 10 yards past midfield before anybody even attempted to step to him. And these are all basic things, guys. These are all things that
I was just going to say that, John. It doesn't sound like you're talking about anything that's like overly complex.
This isn't, you know, something Pep Guardiola came up with. This is stuff that people are taught in U10, U12, you know.
U12 for sure.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
So this is basic stuff, and these guys aren't doing it. They didn't do it last year to start the season. And it's like, what are we doing in preseason? What are the boys doing in preseason that it takes last year it took them 3, almost 4 months to get down. And same thing this year so far. We're a month in. We have 0 wins in league, 0 wins against the top tier competition, and 2 goals in the run of play. And, and that's, I know it sounds like I'm going to go on a Poppy out rant, and that's, I'm saying it's still early. I'm trying to tell myself I need to calm down. I need, they did have the Champions Cup, so there was a lot of schedule congestion. But, man, this just is not good enough. Plain and simple. Whatever, like Mehmed was saying, whatever they need to do in that locker room and on the field to fix this, it needs to happen yesterday on the plane ride home. It needs to have started. Not today at practice, not tomorrow at practice. It should have started yesterday on the plane ride home. Somebody needed to light into those players. Janssen is the captain. We have, obviously on a team, you have the captain, symbolic to everybody else, but you have a group of leaders on the team. So whoever the leaders are on this team needs to take these guys and say, you need to do this, you're not doing that, and lay the hammer down on them. That's what a captain is supposed to do when you have performances like this. I mean, three quarters of the team yesterday didn't even look like they wanted to be out there. The guys that did, Janssen, Brecalo, Duncan, Gillespie, and that's basically it. I saw too many players walking in transition. You know, Atlanta had a 5-on-4, and we have the right fullback jogging back. I mean, it's not good enough. It's yesterday. If Atlanta wouldn't have sounded like a public library, it would have been a complete embarrassment. But you know, the only thing that Orlando can come out of that game as a supporter, as a fan, can come out of that game saying, that match saying, is that at least we're not Atlanta fans, because that place was quiet. I don't know about you guys, but the only thing I could hear from a supporter standpoint was the dude with the bullhorn sitting there trying to get people to chant, and nobody was, and it was, like I said, sounded like a library. But man, I mean, I'm very irritated at this team. It's like I will always go to the matches except for Leagues Cup because of different reasons.
Don Garber is not getting our money.
Exactly. But I'll still show up to the matches. But you know, I'm going to give 100% no matter what. The very least, you know, Ahmed showed that nice graphic. The very least I want this team to do is put 100%. Those teams with Inchy that didn't make the playoffs, at least you knew they were giving 100%. They just weren't skilled enough. They always gave 100%. And that performance that the majority of that team gave last night was an utter embarrassment.
Absolutely.
All right, and
we have a comment.
Our good friend Rafa over there, all the way in Argentina. Thank you, my brother, because I know it's an hour ahead, so it's 10:43 for you. Actually, no, it's 10:43 for you. So go ahead, Amin.
Yeah, Rafa said, rewind back to Atlanta's second goal and look at what Smith does. He should have pressed on Giamakis, but instead deep lined with our defense and allowed him to shoot, and he scored. Smith with the CM at defensive 4-4-2, and he dropped back as a center back when our defenders had everyone marked. Positioning is killing us. And I think that's exactly what kind of John's point is, right? It's not complex things that we're having issues with. It's the simple things that are killing us, right? And I mean, John, you can obviously elaborate on it, but it's nothing major that's killing us. When you watch the team playing, it's like, oh my God, what are we doing? It's the simple things that are hurting us.
Mm-hmm.
It's
or even go back to the team
hurting us, man.
2 of their goals were because we didn't step up and break down defensively correctly from our fullbacks, the players that are supposed to be able to do that very easily because they're supposed to be a little more athletic. And both times they got turned. Go ahead. Sorry.
Right. Can somebody tell me something about our first goal, please, to make me feel better about our first goal?
Which one?
Their first goal, I should say.
Oh, their first goal.
Sorry, their first goal. Yeah, I mean, we didn't have a first goal.
Oh,
I know.
Listen,
yesterday.
I was about to jump into that. The first goal was by a man that had 3 goals in all of 2023. He will make him into a superstar. I'm sorry, you know, I'm tired, and this goes. Maybe it's just me because this seems to happen to all the teams I follow. This seems because every single time we have to pull the universal energy that gave us Messi and Ronaldo and Ronaldinho, all these greats of the football. The same, we have to harness that energy to score a goal. Meanwhile, we look like UNICEF or Salvation Army every single time we concede a goal. Atlanta's goals, my friend, they were not spectacular. They were simple tapping. Well, the first one was a tapping. The second one, okay, we don't give them the space. If we don't, but you know, and I'm so sick of those people going goose. Listen, Guzan is a Finnish man. It's a Finnish goalkeeper. I'm sorry, he's Finnish. He's Finnish. I hope that Josh Cohen former starting goalkeeper for Maccabi Haifa, one of my favorite goalkeepers, um, takes his job, eats
Yeah.
his lunch because Josh has done things that Goose can do, like win in the Champions League, stop point blank Messi. That's and PSG.
Hmm.
So I gotta go with that. Let's read this comment. I got some notes for you guys.
Yeah, we got a comment from Jim D. He said Galese went full Guzan on that goal. He just froze and fell back.
Oh, Jim, one of my favorite memes of all time. The
Yeah,
don't
Well,
know.
man.
honestly, on that goal, everybody wants to point to Gillespie being out of position, but I remember last night watching it live, and that ball went. The pass that was made by I can't say his name, the Greek striker for Atlanta.
Yeah,
Gilaki.
the Greek guy.
Yeah. And when I saw Santos turn, I go, "Oh, Santos got turned around wrong. This is going to be trouble."
Like an old sock baby.
Because you watch him, and he completely. I didn't go back to watch that part. I didn't rewatch the match. I couldn't get myself to completely rewatch the match. For those clips, I do have to thank Ahmed because I put that task on him because I didn't want to go back and rewatch it. But when he turned, you could just see the way he turned was very awkward, and he got beat, and then didn't recover properly. Yes, Gillespie was out of position, but the goalie's supposed to be your last line of defense. And if the lines of defense in front of him make mistakes, like Cartagena against Tigres, where I think it was was
You're
it
right. You're right. You're right.
yeah,
You're right.
you know, sure, Gillespie should have probably stopped that. But if Cartagena doesn't try to out dribble somebody 35 yards from net, they're not in that position. And it's like,
You know,
they try to make such
get
elegant
to wrestle
plays,
and dazzle instead of
which is fine if you can make the simple plays. But they're not making the simple plays. They're not making the simple movements. They're not making the simple marks or step ups or fundamentals that you learn as a youth in this sport. And it's just so infuriating to me that they don't do that. Listen, I'm not the most athletic guy. I never was, never claimed to be, but I was only given so much. So I had to know the technique probably definitely better than somebody more athletic than me. And the way these guys are stepping up and the way these guys are challenging on defense, except for Janssen and Brekalo so far this year, is just is appalling. It's a smack in the face to the beautiful game. And I mean, this cannot whatever change needs to be made. And we have to move on and get better.
for sure. Friends, in fact, Ahmed, if you while I give our folks this stats from hell, um, if you can put that picture I just sent you, guys. Last year, and for the benefit of those that are on audio, there's a meme that I stole from Facebook. It says, "The vibe so far this season: me screaming at the TV, shoot, cross, do something useful, Orlando City." And then we have a picture of the guys from Pawn Star saying, "Sorry, the best I can do is unnecessary touches leading to turnovers." Someone was in my living room last night because that's exactly, excuse me, the reaction that I had. I want to show you something. The worst, this we're in the worst start of the season, as I said, in our history. Last year, when we were popping out, which now looking back at this I would have cut my right arm for this start. 5 goals for, 4 against, with 8 points. Right now, 2 for, 10 against, and one single stinking point that Gales is safe for us because Montreal should have scored that at the death and beat us. Um, all the teams that are still active and CONCACAF champion, where are they? Columbus is second in the East with 10 points. I wonder what's their excuse.
Hmm.
Perhaps because they not rest their starters or whatever. I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a fat man with like screaming in my kitchen at an ungodly hour. Then we have FCC third in the East with 8 points. Then you know I'm gonna have to uh, like wash my mouth with kerosene after I say this. Is the Inter Miami first in the East with 10 points, and last New England 15th in the East with 0 points and still alive in the tournament. I don't know, guys. I don't know about you, but it's uh it's insane what happened. Before we go to talk about Austin, who's going to be our rival this Saturday, and first, I want to thank the 41 people that are watching us live. Thank you very much for taking the time. Our audience, the bulk of it is throughout the week at listening or watching at their leisure. So I appreciate everybody that is with us for the 90 minutes. Thank you very much. Um, let's read the Jim D comment before we go into our next topic.
Yeah, sure, I got it. Jim D says, to me, I expect a loss, but with our front line, I did not expect a shutout. Our tactic, yes, one, is so poor going forward.
I have to agree, Jim. I can stomach a loss if
Absolutely.
if I can see our team scoring and trying to win the game. You
That's the
gotta win
key.
the game. You
Speaking
gotta
of
play to win
scoring,
the game.
I
So
think
speaking of
that's the
scoring,
key, though. The key is that it's just the effort, right? It
mhm,
felt to me that's what felt like was missing. There was a huge part missing there. It wasn't about the outcome because last week we talked about how we would have been okay even with a draw, right? Because we
yep.
know what the guys have been going through.
right,
But it
right,
wasn't about
absolutely.
the outcome. It was about how it unfolded.
Listen, 8 games in 22 days. That's a lot, and over five, almost 6,000 miles of travel. You know, I have worked under those conditions. For example, the beginning of last season, I was on Mondays. I was flying to Baltimore, and I will work all my way to Boston, and then fly home. I did that for 3 months. At the end of those 3 months of driving long hours, driving to Vermont, driving to New York, driving to Pennsylvania, all over the place, New Jersey, Delaware, all that. I finally told my manager, if you ask me to do this on Monday, I'm gonna quit. I can't do this anymore. And mind you, I was podcasting from the road as well, so I wasn't neglecting uh you know the duties with the podcast I was in at the time. So and I was going to the games on the weekend. So I know if anybody that has to go through TSA and getting on flights and all that. And mind you, that it's been years since the last time MLS players have flown commercial. Years. They just basically show up over there on Trayport Drive, jump on the Magic School Bus, and up we go. So again, I I gotta cut them some slack.
So real quick,
Uh,
David, before we move on,
yeah, brother.
just how many goals were slated to have total this season for
How many
34
goals?
matches?
Oh gosh.
What are projected based on our total goals scored so far?
Oh, please tell me because
17.
17.
projected.
17. Yep.
Based on what?
Based
Based,
on how many we've scored so far in league play.
Oh, yeah, of course.
We're,
I
we're
mean,
averaging a half we're averaging half a game a match right now.
yeah, we're watching
wow,
180 minutes per goal right
Yeah.
now.
that's
If you count
insane.
just the regular season, 180 minutes per goal, and that is not how you get to the supporter shield. I'll tell
No,
you that
no,
right
no,
now.
no.
I might
Listen,
not know a
support
lot
show's
about
over.
football, but
I gotta tell you right now. I am the most positive person that you will ever meet. For those that know me from Facebook and social media and all that, I am super supportive to a fault. I'm telling you right now, supporter shield is not happening. It's not. It is not unless Oscar Pareja has a 10 revival at 1000 Bill Beck Boulevard over there in Kissimmee. Unless unless we're laying hands on these boys. I don't see it. If I can be honest with you guys, I don't see it because the damage is done. And to be quite honest, I have watched a lot of football in the last 30 years to tell you that it's not impossible. And I would love to eat the words. I would love to shove this can down my throat if that was possible. But I think that Spurs shows out of reach this year. Best we can do if we continue like this is to make the wild card game. And I'll tell you, we're gonna go to the next topic here. And guys, I got tonight is a night of uncomfortable truths. Oscar Pareja on the road to playoffs. I'm gonna say it. This is Oscar Pareja's record as of last night with Orlando City since 2020. 70 wins, 37 losses, and 42 ties. These have been our results under the man from Colombia. 2020 with 23 games played, 41 points. We finished fourth with 25 goals against and 40 going for. 2021, 34 games, 51 points. We finish. I'm sorry, I can't even read my own handwriting. Okay. We finished sixth, and with 48 goals against and 54. 2022, 34 games, 48 points. Seventh with 53 goals against and 44 going for. 2023, 34 games, 63 points, club record. Second in the league and in the East, club record. 39 goals against, 55 goals going for. And in the playoffs in 2022, we went to the semifinals. In 2021 and 2022, we were eliminated on the first leg. And in 2023, we were eliminated in the semifinals. That's what we've done with Oscar Pareja so far. All right, guys. This is what we have. This league, this season, there's 34 games, 102 possible points. If you were to win every single game, that's what you end up with, 102 points. Statistically speaking, you need 50 points plus to clinch playoffs. It has been like that for at least the last 16, 17 years. In February, there was 3 points for the taking. We took one. In March, there's 15 points. And we have left 6 possible points. In April, we have 9. In May, we have 18. That means that there is a possibility of 45 points that we need to be in contention for the playoffs. Right now, we have 1. We need the rest. The second half of the season is 57 points. I'm going to be honest with you. If we lose Saturday, press the panic button. Why I say this? Well, we're going to be without Brecalo, who's going to be with Slovenia. Cartagena and Gales are going to be with Peru. Loyola and Maguire are going to be with the U.S. Salim is going to be with Somalia, and Torres is going to be with Uruguay. And let me remind you that our good friend Cesar Araujo still questionable. I have to say to you guys, if we are not winning games and in contention, in the running, battling out by June 1st, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. It's back to the good old days of back to the good old days of Jason Christ. And what offends me is we are gonna be there with the same manager that got us to glory this past 4 seasons, lifted a trophy with the same players that we know can do that plus more. What is happening in the club? I don't know. Perhaps situations at home, pressures. Listen, we have some players that have ambitions. We know. In my opinion, Maguire is playing for Maguire. and I can't blame him. He knows come June, July, he's gone. So he's just trying to do the best for himself. So if the club loses or wins, doesn't matter. He's working on his brand. So there you go. Your highest scoring player with 2 goals this season is gonna be gone in the summer. So take all the pictures, all the pictures that you want, get as much memorabilia signed and all that. Then, my friends, we need our DPs to produce. Facundo needs to start scoring. Muriel, my guy, we didn't bring you here so you can go to Disney. You gotta lose some weight. You gotta. To me, Muriel should be the first at 1000 Bill Beck Boulevard in Kissimmee, or the training facility, the first one and the last one. I want to see you running. I want to see you doing weights. My man, you need to lose weight. And a fat piece of trash like me is telling you that. When I was in my late teens, early 20s, I was a United States sailor. I looked like a Greek god. Okay? You guys should have seen me the day after boot camp, my graduate boot. I looked like a Greek god. I had like a 12-pack. I got home and my mother was asking what happened to her son, what happened to her baby. If you go to the gym and you dedicate yourself, my guy, you have to. And you know what, Muriel, if you don't want to, the humidity in the summer of Florida will punish you. So that's all I gotta say. And Ojeda, my guy, what is this, 2-3 years already? You're a DP and you're coming from the bench. I'm sorry, whatever it is that you are lacking, that our manager doesn't see you as a starter. Listen, I don't know. Maybe you're gonna have to call Miss Cleo or somebody. Somebody better call somebody. We gotta get it. Because the problem, my friends, is, and I'm sorry that I'm getting on the high horse here. I promise you that I will get off, because I know a lot of people always tell me, "Oh, David, you talk too much." Okay, that's fair. We never lose the terraces. You know who I see at Inter and Coca Stadium on game day? I see people who work their tails off during the week and pay for those tickets to see their team play and win. That's who I see. When I left the stadium after we lost to Minnesota United, there was a young woman there with one of those big things that says "my first game" or whatever, and she said, "I loved it. I want to come back. That was fun." Imagine if the boys would have rewarded her with a win, at least a point. The fans are showing up. This idea that people are going to stop showing up, that people are going to turn on the play, that doesn't exist. That's just people talking on social media. People that, quite honestly, do not understand what it is to support a football club. And when I say these things, a lot of people say, "Oh, David, that's toxic." No. You're either in or you're out with your football club. In moments like this is when the club needs us the most. When the boys step on the pitch on Saturday, they need to see a full stadium that we still believe that we're still behind them. I have to tell you, it's tough. It's gonna be a tough doing. I can't believe that we're not even 30 days into the season and we're already talking about survival. We're already talking about survival.
Yeah, but David, you know why we're talking about that? Because of how we're playing. It's not because of the outcome. Absolutely. It's because we've seen how the team has played and we see how they're playing. That's really why that sense of urgency is there. And I'm just sorry. I didn't want to, but that's what it is. That's no, what we see it. You, me, John, we see it. And I know everybody watching the show sees it. So it's not that we're not supporting the team. We're supporting the team. But imagine it's like you're watching somebody that's a marathon runner. And then all of a sudden they start a race and they're like limping on one foot. And of course you're going to like scream and freak out because you're running a marathon and you're on one foot right now. Hello. You can't be doing this at the beginning of the race because it's going to
No,
come back.
1,000%. John,
Yeah, you take out. I mean, Ahmed, is completely right. I do first have to completely disagree with you, David, on one thing.
go ahead, brother.
Maguire cares. Maybe it's because he is trying to self promote a little bit, but I saw on Tuesday, Tigers had a breakout and was in transition with limited of our defenders back. The first person back that was not a defender was Duncan McGuire, and he was playing dead even of.
I remember that.
So if he's only caring about scoring, to me, if he's only caring about scoring goals and you know uh, raising his stock, yes, does that raise his stock? Will coaches notice that? Yes, but my point is at a professional level, everybody should be putting that amount of effort in. And some of these players just, it's kind of the same thing. I feel like we're going insane, boys. Same thing we said last year, right about this time. It seems like there's a bunch of guys out there just trying to collect a paycheck. And every one of our games, except for the Miami match, even that one, I would say all of them were winnable. But the beautiful thing about the game of soccer, more than almost any other sport, is you need the full team contributing with effort. If they're not contributing with their effort, it's going to show. And if multiple members of that team aren't contributing with their effort, you're screwed. But with that being said, every one of our games, except for that Miami match, 3 matches, 2 matches against Tigres, have been winnable games. Even that Tigres one, the guys put their effort out there and they looked like they were truly trying their hardest. Tigres doesn't score the first goal, and they don't score the fourth goal. Guess what? It's a brand new ball game at that point. It's 2-2. Yes, did we score during the run of play? Who cares? We still scored 2 goals. We end the match 2-2. We would have moved on. I know there's a lot of ifs and buts, and with that, but all these little things, the attention to detail that are things that you've been taught for, basically since you started playing this sport or a sport, when you get to a higher level, takes effort.
Mm-hmm.
Because like me and David said earlier about the passing and the plays they're trying to do, the flashy play. It's easy to try to do the flashy play. It's harder to try to make that simple play that may break a play wide open. To stay in your position in the middle of the field, and you can float. It's soccer. It's not a static game. You can move around, but somebody needs to be in that position. And if it's not going to be this guy, it needs to be that guy. And when everybody's together, trying their hardest, and they're there for each other, that's when things click. That's what happened last year in May. And they went on a great run during the summer and into the fall. And then whatever happened in the off season is beyond me. And this match on Saturday, I just honestly, I win, lose, draw, I could care less. I just want to see an effort out there.
Thank
I
you.
want to see
I
a
agree.
team that looks like they want to be
Absolutely.
there. A team
Absolutely.
that has that dog in them. That, and we saw it at the end of the Montreal or the Minnesota match. We
Mm-hmm.
saw that it's there, it's in them. But for some reason, they've shown it in 1 out of 8 matches so far, and that's it. 1 out of
Yeah.
8 matches.
I would like to read to you guys. This is a comment on a personal conversation that I had with my good friend Stuart Wilkins, the man out of Bradford, England, Orlando City fan. And Stuart, I hope we hope to see you soon. I know you told me that it's probably going to be around September. Hopefully, you're going to find us in a better place. He said, I watched most of the game yesterday, and the box stops with the coach. I'm afraid. It's a results based business, and if they continue to play like that, the coach will be fired. They looked a far cry from the two games I've been to, plain and simple. We just I think guys, the frustration in the fan base is basically because we know what we can do. We're just not doing it. That's my frustration. That's my frustration. I care about the club. I care about the players. I care about the product. And I know that we can do better. It, seasons are different. I had this conversation with my doctor, who hopefully is gonna be there Saturday after performing my surgery tomorrow. We're gonna talk about that in a second. And he was, lamenting about the season that Newcastle, the team that he follows, you know, in England, and he was saying, hey, seasons, you get to enjoy great success, and all the seasons you don't. And I agree with that. That we're gonna have every season fireworks and silverware. No, it's not gonna happen that way. But I was expecting better, I think, and perhaps also is the fact that we have stood there as we've seen teams that have less years in the league winning MLS. Atlanta, New York, LA. We have seen Columbus go twice this decade, and it's frustrating. It really is. I mean, we saw Portland win their first cup. We saw whatchamacallit, LAFC win their first cup. We saw Seattle win two, Toronto. So I understand the frustration of like when it's gonna be our turn, because I see a stadium full of rabid fans, including the three gentlemen that you see on your screen,
Hmm.
and unfortunately we have not been there. If you guys can read that comments before we
Yep.
go to our last topic and wrap it up.
Yeah, I got it. Jim D says every team knows we play to the 10, then to the wing, then put in a random cross with 1 to 2 guys in the box over and over. It's nonsense. No runs. Everyone just watching the ball. Ridiculous. And, Jim, I don't think any of us can disagree with you there. And those crosses leave a lot to be desired at that.
For
I'm
sure,
just
for
I mean,
sure.
we had a winger yesterday, last night, kick the ball from the corner, and it landed outside of the penalty box on the opposite side.
yes.
Again, I'm not sitting here saying I was a professional. I think this was very low level high school soccer, and I played right midfielder and right fullback. I don't think I've ever miskicked and I'm strong. I'm definitely strong, and was one of the strong had one of the strongest feet on our team. I don't think I've ever misstruck a cross that bad, as bad as Angulo did yesterday. That was just miserable.
For sure. All right, guys. We are playing this Saturday, 7:30, all roads in Florida lead to 655 West Church Street at the House of the Lions in Paramore, Inter and Co Stadium. And we're gonna be playing against Austin FC, also known as the Broccolis. Austin and Orlando have a lot of history. Off the pitch, of course. Austin was where Orlando City was born as the Austin Aztecs. For those that don't know, they never supported the club, so the founders of Orlando City decided to move the team to Orlando. Some people tried to say that we stole the team. Listen, we didn't steal anything. We didn't even know we had a team to begin with that was moving here until they started playing. Then, of course, we all know the story between them and Columbus and all of that. We have only played one game against them. It was in 2022 at their house. Game that ended 2-2. We were winning that game decisively 2-0 until the ref decided to do what they do best, insert themselves in the game. We had two red cards. One to Rodrigo Schlegel, which you can see that the he was targeted. He was in the barrier inside the penalty area, and you can see that the kicker had no intention of playing that ball on the frame. He just kicked it to his arm, and the ref fell for that. We're down a man. They scored 2-1. Then after that, uh, they bamboozle um, Araujo into a dumb foul, 2-2, and that's it. They have not done very well in their seasons. They have missed more playoffs than they have made them. And they're coming to Orlando, salivating at the opportunity of 3 points. We have to deny them that satisfaction. And we have to avenge the travesty that happened in Central Texas 2 years ago. What do you guys think? What's going to be the outcome this Saturday? As we are they're missing two pieces, but in our case, we're missing stars. And two of them have been the scoring muscle that we have needed in the past. What do you guys think is going to happen this Saturday? A game. Listen, a game we gotta win. A tie, I'll take it, but we gotta win that game.
I mean, last year or last season, this time, we had this similar situation and we were up against the Union and we won away, if I
On a
remember
Wednesday.
correctly. So, do we have it in us to do that? I think so. But we need to get whatever it is that's going on straightened out because we did not have that situation going on at this point. At that point last season, it was just the guys gelling and we were all nervous because we didn't have our stars and we didn't know if without those how we would do. With whatever it is that's going on with the team right now, I'm nervous, but we have what it takes to win a game. Lucky for us, it's at home, not away. Yeah, so I think we have what it takes. We just have to get our act together.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I mean, as bad as they've looked the last two matches, like I said earlier, I'm just looking for a massive uptick in effort and intensity on these guys. Anybody that's knows me or seen me at the matches knows I'm extremely intense. And I expect those players that are getting paid hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, to come close to matching my intensity. And to me, if that uptick in intensity is there, the entire match, not just the second half when we have to score goals like we did against Minnesota 2 weekends ago, if it's there for the entire match, that intensity is there for the entire match, that drive is there for the entire match, we'll win. Just like the other matches, like I was saying before, they were all winnable except for maybe the Miami one. But even that one, the way they started. So, we have to win. But to me, more importantly, we have to win because we were the more intense team. We had the most attention to detail. We were the most clinical, and that just all comes from the intensity and the need to win that these guys haven't really shown, except for maybe a half this season.
I have to agree. The thing about this folks in Austin is and you caught me checking our social media to make sure that we haven't missed anybody. They're 12th in the West. One loss, three ties with 4 points. It's not like they are much better than we are. Um, Listen, this is what I'm gonna tell you something that I say it all the time, and our detractors use it against me, but it's the truth. Winners win games, and losers make excuses. Let's go win games. Let's go out there and win. Let's go out there. If I was Oscar Pareja, like, listen, you remember how you used to play in the street with your buddies in the the old neighborhood? Let's just go do that. Let's just go. Let's just go and see 25,000 of our friends out there and just win a game for them. Let's just do that. A journey starts with one step: the desire to get out of the couch and start. Let's just go, win one game. Next week, do the same. Next week, do the same. Because losing is contagious, but so is winning.
Yeah.
A winning mentality is, listen, wins are born on the training. They are, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Wins, um, they're born in the hearts of the players, but they the process of that starts in the training pitch. If those 11 men that take on the pitch come Saturday night do not believe they can win, it doesn't matter how hard the wall sings,
Mm-hmm.
how hard everybody in that stadium claps, how many people show up. If those 11 men don't get up that morning, look at themselves in the morning and go, you're going to win this game. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens. I'm a firm believer that our football club can do that, and I expect them to do so. So once again, your boys need you. Please go support them. We're gonna finish. I want to say, as of right now, it's 10:22. At 6:30 tomorrow morning, I will be having my surgery. For those that don't know, I had a rupture colon 7 months ago, almost killed me. But thank God, I had a great surgeon, a football aficionado, somebody that wants to make Orlando City their team. And you know what? You know what you're gonna do, Oscar Perez? You're gonna reward my doctor when he goes there Saturday, after he performs the necessary procedure to put me whole once more. And I'm gonna show you. I tried to hide it, but look, you see that? That's my intestine right there. It's gonna be put back together. So I'm excited about that. 7 months, woo, long time. And with that said, thank you very much for all of you that are people of faith and pray. I appreciate the messages you have sent me, and thank you very much. I know, if I can have a moment of personal moment, I know who I have laid my faith on, and into the Creator, and to God nothing is impossible. So I know that I'm gonna come through this in one piece. I know for my wife and my kids it has been very tough, and for my coworkers too, who support me, and who every Tuesday morning always love to catch up with me about what I say on the show and all that. So I'm ready for it, and like I said, if I am going to go Saturday, days after my surgery, to go support the Lions, hopefully I won't pop a stitch or anything like that, because I know we're gonna be jumping once we score. Um, you have no excuse. Let's go support the boys. Let's go cheer on our team. This moments like this either galvanize a fan base or they destroy it. It's your choice what you want to do. So I want to thank the 48 people that have been with us tonight. I'm super proud of what we have managed to do. It's a podcast where we stand for what we believe in. We support our club, and also we don't compromise our beliefs, and we don't compromise who we are as people, as fans, and at the end of the day, our support is towards the color and the badge, the colors and the badge. That's all we have. And guys, if you can read William's comment, give some closing departing words, and that way we can call it a night.
Yeah, sure. William said, "Hey guys, nice to see you one more time. All I gotta say is that out of all the negative stuff going on this season, I'm bummed out I haven't been able to redeem my Polar Pop after a City win."
Uh, woo.
And David said, Abe said, "God bless David. Be well and good luck."
Thank you, my brother. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
John.
Well, good luck tomorrow, David. My family's prayers will be with you.
Thank you, my friend.
Um, but yeah, as far as the club goes, man, like I said, we'll be, true supporters never leave, no matter what, and we'll be there every match we're able to make this year, this season, next season. And for those people that say that they regret getting season tickets, they regret that they're boycotting the season until the Wolves do something about it. All of that stuff. That's not a reason to boycott. I can understand being anxious and being upset with their performances, just like the three of us are. But guess what? The three of us and many, 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 many more people will be there on Saturday and every home match after that to support the boys, because they need us now more than ever to show that we're still there, supporting them, making noise for them, making Orlando City Stadium an intimidating place to play, not a library like they have up in Atlanta. And so
I read that one.
Jim D said, fellow Polar Pop Ultra.
There you go. We gotta print the t-shirts. Somebody.
Yeah. So show up, show out, be there, be loud. Show your support. There should be, if anything, more passion to help these boys get over the hump and show them, as David said earlier, and as Ted Lasso would say, that we believe that they can win the match and get past what they're, the struggle that they've had early in the season, because it's not too late yet. And, we don't want to turn our back on the boys just because the things got a little rough. Because trust me, this isn't rough. This isn't rough at all for those that have been around for a while, if you're new to supporting the club.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
The least I can ask of you is show up, show out on Saturday, and really be there to support the boys.
For sure. Before we go, I would like to remind everybody we're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify on audio. Let your friends know, friends and family, that we're there to be consumed on audio. Every Monday at 9 p.m., we're live on Twitch at On the Capo Stand, on X at On the Capo Stand, on YouTube at Davis Channel 76, on Instagram, On the Capo Stand, live on Facebook at On the Capo Stand podcast. We are on TikTok at On the Capo Stand. We're on Threads at On the Capo Stand, and on Blue Sky at On the Capo Stand. Please give us a thumbs up, share, like, all that good stuff. Costs nothing, and it helps us out to continue to do what we do, which is every Monday night talk about how we allowed 11 strangers to total our emotions. So thank you very much, guys. In the event that the surgery doesn't go the way it should, which I do, because again, I believe in a greater power. The boys are gonna be handling the show. So we're always gonna have a show. Thank you very much for all the people that showed up still with us. Wow. Thank you. We're here rambling. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and we're gonna say goodbye the only way we know how is by reminding everybody that football is not played on paper but on grass. Football is cruel and unpredictable. Football is a pound of talent and an ounce of luck. If football has not made you cry for joy or anger, have you ever really football? Up the Lions, as always. From myself, John, and Ahmed, may God bless you. And as always, vamos, Orlando!